Here's an organized way to see the best vehicles in each class in GTA Online. We're going to be factoring in mainly performance, but also the price of the vehicle, the looks, and the customization. Even though with the first class we don't have a whole lot of customization, the helicopters. Hands down the best helicopter in the game has to be the Sparrow, and it actually got an armor buff pretty recently, which is kind of mind-blowing because it already was super good. For one thing, it's the fastest helicopter in the game by far. It's an extremely lightweight helicopter, and it's way faster than most helicopters in the game, and it's even a little faster than some planes, which is crazy. It used to take only one explosive to blow up the Sparrow, but after the armor buff it got with a recent DLC, it takes 1 to 2 explosives, which is actually really good for already such a good helicopter. To get this thing is gonna cost a bit just because you need to own a Kosaka submarine beforehand, and then the Sparrow is purchasable basically as an extension to the submarine. Buying the Kosaka is $2.2 million, and then the Sparrow itself is an extra $1.8 million, so definitely pretty expensive. Despite this, I still recommend getting it 100%. It's super worth it, especially because you can make a lot of money back with the Kosaka. After buying this thing, it's really easy to call it in. All you need to do is go into service vehicles, Kosaka, and then you just press on the Sparrow and it spawns instantly right next to you. That's why it's a lot of people's go-to vehicle for free mode and different missions that you can actually use it in. It's got both attacking and defending capabilities with the flare countermeasure, so if someone locks onto you, you can activate the flares by pressing right on the D-pad, and you can shoot homing missiles with it, which have some decent tracking on them. For most of these classes, I'm also going to have an honorable mention just because it's so difficult to pick just one vehicle per class. I was trying to decide between the Akula helicopter and the Buzzard, and I'm going to go with the Buzzard just because I want to have a more budget-friendly option. The Akula is very expensive, so the Buzzard comes in at only 1.75 million, and luckily you don't need to own any properties before buying this one, so very simple. It's equipped with the homing missiles and a machine gun on it, so overall a pretty solid helicopter. Definitely great for starters, I'd say. You don't necessarily have to fully buy it to use it, because if you have the CEO office, you can actually just go in the CEO menu, CEO vehicles, and then you can actually call it in for $5,000 or $10,000 if you don't own it. So short term, you can actually use it whenever you want, and it's not going to be nearly as expensive as buying it fully. Next class is the open wheel vehicles. So the F1 cars are super underappreciated in the GTA community, I feel like, and I really wish Rockstar would actually release more F1 cars so there's a bigger variety. Because the number of cars in this class is very limited, we're not going to have an honorable mention for this one, but the best F1 car is the BR8. As they call them in game, the open wheel vehicles, all of them have pretty similar performance, but the BR8 is just slightly better than the others, so definitely use this one for open wheel races. And even in free mode, I enjoy taking this around, even though they have no armor, so you could get blown up at any point really, but it's really fun to drive these around just because you have some insane traction. Like, you literally cannot spin out with this thing, and if you press down on the left stick, you can get an awesome speed boost, so highly recommend getting that one if you're looking for an F1 car. Now moving on to the SUVs class, which has a lot of competition in recent years. A pretty new SUV came into the game and it blew away the competition. The new Castigator based off the Jeep Avenger is the best in the game. It's a bit of a smaller build for an SUV. I definitely say this is more of a mini SUV since it's a lot smaller than something like the Rebla GTS. My one little pet peeve about the performance of it is it feels a little heavy for its small size, but it's really not that big a deal. Decent handling, great speed, and overall a really good looking SUV with some amazing customization. I was blown away by the variety of customization options. Really unique looking bumpers, some great hood options, a lot of different spoilers. That's right, spoilers for an SUV, and liveries. So there's a lot to take a look at in Los Santos Customs. And compared to the vehicles we talked about so far in this video, like the F1 cars, which cost a few $1,000,000, or the Sparrow, which costs a lot, this one's a bit more toned down, coming in at $1.65 million. Not a bad price considering you're getting an amazing SUV. And the honorable mention for the SUVs class is the Pegassi Toros, the Lamborghini SUV. Beautiful looking car, insane speed, but the handling could use some improvements since, I mean, this thing goes way too fast for the traction that it's capable of. Moving on to the muscle class, which is also really stacked in recent years. For this one, we're going to be featuring the Dominator GT, also a relatively new vehicle that came into the game. It's got a very realistic look to it, and I absolutely love the handling of this one. It's extremely easy to drive around. I want to say it's the best handling muscle car in the game. It's super easy to turn. One of my favorite cruising vehicles in online at the moment. It's absolutely awesome. Although the top speed of it is naturally not as fast as the HSW Vigero ZX, which is going to be the honorable mention. Getting both of these muscle cars fully upgraded is going to run you about $2.5 million each. The Sports Classics class is pretty straightforward. The Turismo Classic is the king of that class. I also believe it's HSW upgradable, and the honorable mention is also a pretty similar vehicle, the Cheetah Classic. Both vehicles came out around the same time a good couple years ago. For the Cheetah Classic, it's going to run you about $850,000, and for the Turismo Classic, it's going to be about $700,000, but if you want to upgrade it into the HSW version, it's going to be another $800K. After all the upgrades and customization, which are going to be pretty pricey, you're probably going to be spending close to $2 million on it. Same situation in the motorcyclist class. We're going to have one HSW upgradable vehicle and one non-HSW. The Hakiii Drag is the fastest lane vehicle in this entire game. It's not good for wheelies, but if you want to complete HSW time trials and just get from point A to point B quick, the Hakiii Drag is as good as it gets. It's got some crazy traction and top speed, so it's my go-to vehicle for HSW time trials for a reason. Now for the non-HSW option, that's going to be the Power Surge. The electric bike is absolutely insane when it comes to top speed. Even though it's not at the level of the Hakiii Drag, it's pretty close. It's really easy to pull wheelies with this thing, and overall just a pretty futuristic looking motorcycle. That's what we're going to be looking at as the honorable mention for this class. For a fully upgraded Hakiii Drag HSW, it's going to run you close to $3 million, and the Power Surge, luckily you don't need to mess with any HSW upgrades. That's going to run you about $1.6 million. The off-road class is such a tough one to call. It was really difficult to pick just two. For the main option, I chose between the Terminus and the Draugr, but ultimately I went with the Terminus just because it's a really realistic and really cool looking off-roader. One of the most realistic looking vehicles in the game, and it comes with amazing performance. It's amazing for races and of course just casually off-roading and free roam. Ton of different unique options like the bumpers and the headlight covers and the hood options, roof options. There's so much to take a look at in LS Customs. The honorable mention is a super cheap option. It's actually really budget friendly. The Camacho, coming in at only $345,000. That's an extremely cheap vehicle. The Camacho is one of the best bang for your buck deals you can find in this entire game, and the value for the money is crazy considering it has amazing customization, great speed, great vehicle control. It feels like a very sturdy and stable vehicle. If you have a smaller budget, definitely go for the Camacho. It's super worth it. In the Weaponized Jets class, we're gonna have just one option for this one, and that's a pretty obvious one. Even though it's by far the most expensive, I still feel like it is by far the best option. So the F-160 Raiju, it's one of the most expensive items you can buy in the game for a reason. There's so many cool capabilities, like for example stealth mode. So as you're flying, you could just hold right on the D-pad, I believe it is, and then it doesn't let you use any weapons, but you're basically off the radar for an unlimited amount of time. It is also the fastest jet in the game, and if you actually want to go out of stealth mode and use some weapons, it's got the explosive cannon and the homing missiles, and maneuvering with this thing is actually a lot of fun just because you have hover mode like using a helicopter or the hydroplane, or you can actually use it like a normal jet and just fly forwards instead of up and down. Highly recommend unlocking the trade price for this thing, so it's going to cost you only $5.1 million instead of $6.8 million. Next one is the most popular vehicle class in the game, the Supers class. This class was by far the most difficult one to decide which one I want to showcase just because there's so many good supercars with different top speeds, different handlings. Ultimately, I went with the Turismo Omaggio. Now, I decided between the Omaggio and the Krieger, but I just feel like the Omaggio is a better looking supercar personally. Looking like a very realistic Ferrari. I absolutely love the look of Ferraris, and this thing has the looks. It's got some decent customization, and it's up there with some of the best racing supercars you can use for stunt races. And then I went for an HSW car as the honorable mention. So the Weaponized Ignis HSW is a beast of a vehicle. Great speed with some really good handling, and the crazy machine gun on the top of it is a tank. It's way stronger than a typical machine gun like we see on the Night Shark or the Buzzard, being able to blow up any street car within just a few seconds. It's crazy strong. We featured a lot of HSW cars in this video so far, so let's go into the Imani Tech class, which isn't an official class, but it's basically like a subcategory of vehicles. You want to get the Ocelot Virtue, which you can actually unlock for completely free instead of paying over $2 million for it. You just have to complete the first dose and the last dose missions, and then you get a free Imani Tech upgradable vehicle. It's a really cool electric supercar. It's got some crazy acceleration. For the Sports Cars class, we're going to have two options options for this one. The first one is the Niobe HSW based off the BMW i8. This is a rare scenario of an amazing looking supercar with amazing performance and great customization. The one and only thing you can really complain about with this car is the steep price of it. I mean, Rockstar knew what they were doing since they're releasing such a good car. They gotta put a fat price tag on it. A fully upgraded HSW Niobe is gonna run you about $4 million spent total, which is a lot of money, but you're getting an insanely good car. I just realized I called the Niobe a supercar, but it is in fact a sports car. And as the honorable mention for the sports class, it is going to be none other than the Hakiii GTO. For a non-HSW sports car, this is as good as you're gonna get. It's got really good handling and some great top speed to go along with it. It's gonna run you just under $2 million, which is much more affordable than the Niobe HSW. These are the main vehicle classes in GTA Online, at least that everyone actually cares about, because I feel like there isn't really a point to do like sedans and stuff like that. If you found this video helpful, drop a like on it, subscribe if you're new to the channel for more awesome videos like these. You do not want to miss them. Click the video on screen now for the best safe vehicles to use as a solo player in GTA Online. I hope you all enjoy that video, and peace.